I want to say I'm a little bit too aggressive on our team, and I want my team to come up to my level. That's kind of why I'm still playing this way, but it takes time, and we're trying to improve as a team altogether. I just think sometimes I see plays that my teammates don't see, and that just might be because we don't have that trust yet, because yesterday in that Yasuo game, the way I died top was because I thought JJ was gonna combo onto Kindred.
No, she split.
But he decided not to combo, and then I just looked like an idiot and died for free, so.
Looky here, y'all have returned and just in time for game number 5. It's Flyquest going up against OpTic Gaming. You heard from Wild Turtle, so let's go ahead and jump right into the starting rosters. On the blue side, it's OpTic Gaming with Dokla in the top lane, Meteos in the jungle today, Crown, mid, Arrow, and Big bot and support with coaches Zabutin and Croissant.
And selecting the red side for this matchup, it is Flyquest. In the top lane, Viper, jungle, Santorin, mid, Pobelter, bottom, Wild Turtle, support JJ, and coaches Invert and Cop both on stage.
And yesterday, Pobelter came up short after a split where he has been redefining his identity as a mid laner.
Yeah, I mean, he's really focused a lot more on being a carry, and he's wanted to play this style and wanted to push himself in this direction for a while, and I think it has worked out. One reason he's been able to do that has been the supporting cast around him on Flyquest. I think they've had a lot of good, setup moments with jungle as well as supports roaming around, but yesterday, it didn't seem kind of uncharacteristically out of sync for the entire team, and that was probably their biggest loss to me, the most overwhelming one that seemed like it had the most mistakes to it, because for the rest of this year, this has been a consistent team.
And I mean, you saw the stats fly up on the screen. He was 0-1-0 in the game. He did under 200 damage a minute, so never really got an opportunity to influence much of anything. And it's time to see if they'll bounce back to form versus OpTic, who fell victim to Team Liquid's dominance.
Yeah, the team, they really couldn't get off the ground in that game. Crown wasn't allowed to apply his pressure. I feel like thus far in the season, he has also been super good at setting up plays, roaming around for the team. But if he doesn't have a lot of pressure or good early start to the game, then it makes it difficult for OpTic to really operate in the early stages. Now, Meteos is going to stay in for this game. People have been discussing, are they going to change Dardoch in? Are they going to change the bottom lane back around? Because OpTic originally at the start of the split, they even used almost the full Academy roster plus Crown, and they've been changing out pieces and kind of threatening to do so further down the split as well. But it is going to stick with this solid core duo here. And I think that Meteos, as an individual, we don't know, what's going on in the team communication and stuff like that. But I think he has performed quite well on the stage, as had Dardoch. So it's kind of two good options rather than, one failure or anything.
And both these teams, considering they're currently one game apart, are part of that big clump there in the middle that is all trying to vie for those lower-end playoff spots, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And especially when you're competing against other teams in that group, it means the wins are that much more important. You're essentially putting a 2-game difference between you and them because you've got the win, they take another loss, makes it feel a lot better in terms of saying, okay, we can edge these guys out when it comes to getting that playoff spot for ourselves.
Yeah, speaking of right now, after that CLG loss, that is one extra loss that pushes Flyquest slightly above them until this game finishes. So if Flyquest lose this game, they'll go back down to being tied with CLG Golden Guardians. But if they win this game, then they get just above and can hold on to that 4th place spot just below TSM.
And Flyquest is a team that, like you said, their loss yesterday seemed really rocky. It seemed like one of the worst losses that they've suffered so far in the split. But other than that, they have been a mostly pleasant surprise for a lot of people so far in spring, because it was a team that people didn't exactly have huge expectations of. Nobody was expecting them to be 9th or 10th or anything, but it was a team that sort of flew under everyone's radar and then really came out swinging.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the people on that team were kind of unfairly criticized on previous teams that they had been on where they had success. Santorin has been great for them throughout this split, as has Wild Turtle and JJ. They've been working together a lot more and getting better over the split. I know that at the beginning they said they wanted more time playing with each other, and even in that video that we just heard from Turtle, there's still some times where they're not on the same page. You know, they don't see the same plays, and that can lead to split-second decision-making in the game. We don't have time to say, hey, you know, do this, then do that, then do this.
Yeah.
You know, it has to be these split-second reactions that really make the plays look clean, and that does come with time.
I mean, ideally, an ultra-coordinated team of League of Legends players would look like 5 champions all simultaneously being controlled by the same guy. As if you were playing some sort of an RTS game and he was the one microing and macroing and everything. Yeah.
5 FLICKR.
Yeah, think 5 dudes all piloted by FLICKR is what you would essentially want, but that's very difficult to get to in every situation, especially those super high intensity moments in a real close game where every little decision can make the biggest difference. And while we have a delay on stage, we're gonna go ahead and toss things back to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Of course, while Crown gets his client sorted out so that he can play properly in Korea.
Make him play anyway.
Gives us a little bit of extra time to talk about this matchup. But I'm excited because it's Mid Lane Monday on Sunday, and we've got 2 of the guys on stage here where there was a bit of discrepancy in terms of where they were put on your guys' tier list. So I want to talk about the matchup between the 2 of them today. Crown, Pobelter.
Unfortunately, it was Kobe who disagreed the most.
Ours were like, he had Pobelter at 4th.
Yeah, 4-5.
I had Pobelter at 5th.
Well,
Yeah,
let's
you had
put
Crown.
words in Kobe's mouth then. How about that?
Kobe doesn't think Pobelter's any good. He thinks he's the second fiddle.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. I
But
think
how do you expect them to match up, at least?
I think they're actually relatively similar players in how they want to play the game. I think Crown enjoys or wants to play a very team-focused game, wants to be selfless and help the entire team out, but he has been put on this team to be the hard carry. He has the mechanics to do it, but I think the team is struggling to assist him properly in the mid and late game. That's why he leads mid laners in deaths, is because he does good laning phase. They play around him pretty well, but then like if you want to 1-3-1 with Crown or put him in a side lane or have him be the main, you know, initiator on Lissandra, it does feel like there is still that gap between him and the rest of the team.
Right. Earlier today, we had a mid lane tier list or ranking 1 through 10 where we were talking about the different places we have for people, and it's really difficult for me to put people in different areas. I actually made it so there's like an S tier, an A tier, and like a B tier. I had both Crown and Pobelter in like the A tier, even though Crown was placed higher than mine for Pobelter. They're still in the same tier, as I didn't think there's that much of a difference between them. It's just that it felt like Crown's a little bit better mechanically than Pobelter, and like he said, they kind of play the same way.
So minimal differences between them individually or in isolation, but let's talk about where maybe some of those differences can come within the team or the game itself as a whole. Of course, the first place I look is the jungle. And we've got Santorin on one side of the matchup and Meteos on the other. Meteos, while considered one of the greats in the LCS, has really struggled, it seems, on this OpTic roster, only finding a win.
Right. Well, it seems like there's consistently issues that Meteos has with players on the team. I believe there's like an interview somewhere where Prolly or him said that they had difficulties trying to figure out how to play the game correctly. And then with this current roster, he's having issues with Gate, I believe, where they're having difficulties like, hey, how do we play the game here as well? And with Santorin, he's always been kind of like an underrated jungler, in my opinion. I've never seen him play bad. I've only ever seen him play good. And no one ever really talks about him now.
I feel like we've been saying that for 3 splits now. Ever since that he got the starting job on Flyquest and Meteos was underneath him, we from the trade from 100 Thieves, we kept being like, well, when's Meteos going to see action? But then we're like, wait, Santorin's playing really well. He's probably 2nd or 3rd best jungler in the league. And he got voted that way in the all LCS awards. And we still sit here like, he just doesn't receive much hype. And it just is like...
Maybe that's like a personal branding thing.
Yeah, it's like everyone agrees. Like no one, I think, would disagree that he's like a top 3, top 4 jungler in the LCS this split. But it just, it doesn't feel like the hype is there. Like we're about to watch a Santorin game. I can't wait to see what he does. Everyone would agree with that statement, but there still feels like no hype.
So what we need him to do is pull another Arcadian thing where he like goes on stream and like, you know, just says the Wrath will be swift, but he needs to put it in his own words. And then boom, his name is on the radar for everyone, and then he'll be super popular.
Yeah, and it's funny, that sentiment, it seems to kind of sweep across the whole of Flyquest. I mean, this is something that we've talked about since week 1 here, is that, you know, kind of the band of misfits or second fiddles coming from other teams, and now all trying to prove that, you know, together, banded together, they can be a championship team.
I think it's because, one, there's that, like, they've always been second on the team or something. And then I think they also don't have, a lot of them have like the most aggressive play style outside Turtle, who everyone, you know, is probably the one with the largest brand on the team in that sense and the biggest hype behind him, because you're like, he's going to play Yasuo on the bot lane. He's going to go crazy. And Santorin, as good as he is, even when he's playing Kha'Zix and the Nocturne, the more carry champions, he's not like the insane, I'm going to go crazy type jungler who's like running through wards and stuff. He's a very smart, controlled player, which is not always the hypest thing to watch. And I feel like that can apply to Pobelter and JJ and some of the other guys on this team.
Right. Well, we have Viper up now.
He's
definitely a player that's like, hey, I want the spotlight. I'm going to be the carry of this team. Give me all the money and give me all the viewers, you know? So he's definitely about that as far as his playstyle goes from solo queue. Where that changes much here or not, we'll have to see. But
Right. Mixed success for him, right? He's had some really flashy, really high-tier moments, and then, of course, has fallen, you know, to some of the woes of being a rookie, right? And, you know, a poor decision-making at times, wrong place, wrong time, maybe not syncing with his team and whatnot. But there's a lot of untapped talent in this kid, and I'm excited to watch him grow over the coming splits.
Yeah, of course. At the end of the day, he's a rookie, so there's going to be a lot of things to improve on. Even LCS, who probably had a better coming out in his first split, still improved over the course of the year. So I have a lot of expectations for Viper, not just how he ends this season or this split, but through summer. And I think last game put a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth, both him and Santorin. Some people said Santorin should have gone top more and it was his fault Viper fell behind. Some people said Viper should have been calling more for him. And on the outside, we don't really know who resulted in that game, but I've seen enough good stuff out of Viper and Santorin this split that I'm not ready to be like, oh, that top side 2v2 just doesn't work well. So.
Right. It's always a communication between them both. You know, you can tell your young, like that gank that worked on him, Darshan told the jungler to be in the bush for him. So.
And of course, with all of this, it's about the champions and the team comps that these players will end up piloting. So with that, as we head into the game, we're going to toss it back to the casters for the call.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We are into Champion Select. Delay on stage has been resolved, and here we go. Final match of the week. Yorick and Zoe banned out by OpTic Gaming. Flyquest taking Lucian off the table.
That makes Captain Flowers a happy guy.
Oh, you best believe it.
No Zoe
no
in this
sleeping
game.
trouble today.
Now, it does seem funny to see Dokla's team banning the Yorick, because that was really the iconic champion to me that I associate with him, where he had that big moment split pushing for OpTic and was able to take down the base. But right now, they're just trying to take away a few of those side lane options, because Flyquest have pretty clearly stated they are going to split push to victory. They were one of the first teams to embrace this style, specifically with Viper, with his Riven, and I think that they will continue to do that. So definitely wise to try and chip away at that strategy and remove more possible pieces.
Silas, the final ban here for OpTic Gaming, as Flyquest want one more ban. Let's see what it's going to be. 2, 1, 0. Thinking about this one a while, and they will be taking out the Thresh, keeping the hooks away from Big.
Interesting here. Not going to be able to have a lot of safety for long lanes as well. That could be one of the big pros of getting a Thresh on your team. The Tahm Kench is still up. Tahm Kench has been a very high priority champion for JJ specifically. For the entire LCS career that he has had, they have taken that or Ornn as number 1, number 2 biggest priorities. So I honestly do expect them to take that within the first 3 picks here before we head into another round of ban phase. Just seeing that they're already kind of focusing a bit on that bottom lane. But here we go. Rek'Sai picked up, and that is a hot early game jungler. And Meteos has, I believe, the second most Rek'Sai games in LCS history to his name. A lot of them from his Cloud9 times. Super powerful early game. She can gank very effectively from multiple angles that people don't really expect a lot of the time. You can even go behind like top lane or bottom lane from the super long walls and tunnel over. Take a turret shot even if you have to in order to get right behind laners.
The response from Flyquest will be Galio locked in there, likely seeing that one in the support role. As the Jarvan is also picked up, we saw it played to not much success in the last game. We'll see if Santorin can make more happen with that one, especially going up against that recently buffed Rek'Sai, as OpTic Gaming decided to grab themselves the Tristana, and we'll see if they do want to go for a support. Don't know if they want to completely go for the bot lane here. Maybe you want to pick something up for one of your solos. Still a few seconds left to decide.
Yeah, it's interesting from team to team. You know, I guess it does depend a lot on the individual players that you have. Do you have the solo laners that are equipped to play all of these flexible, super powerful solo lane champions? Because if you don't have multiple players equipped to play those champions, it reduces the value a lot of the early picks. So they are going with the support. They steal away that Tahm Kench we were looking at.
Tahm Kench. The bench must be getting cold these days, Kobe. Ain't nobody to warm it up, but the Kench always off of there. Pick game after game after game. And Flyquest's response to that one is going to be the Kai'Sa, grabbing their AD carry before the second part of the ban's goes.
All right, Turtle's got a champion he can dash right into the action on, and it gives him a shield to protect him. I have been pretty impressed with a lot of the plays that he has actually gone for on the Kai'Sa. I remember specifically landing just the W previously and then going for a full one-shot on the enemy carry. Summoners traded in the end and not quite getting it, but I think he has been one of the better Kai'Sa players in the league overall, and she really does synergize quite well with Galio's semi-global ultimate himself and Jarvan as well, being able to not only apply plasma, but create terrain for Kai'Sa to work around, because Kai'Sa has such a good ultimate that allows her to reposition.
Well, they're taking out one of the types of champions that could easily burst Turtle down, even if he does have that shield. The Syndra banned away by the side of Flyquest. The response from OpTic is getting rid of that signature Riven pick, keeping Viper away from it, as Vladimir is also banned out by Fly.
All right, let's see what Viper's going to go to after they take him down a notch here. Are they actually going to continue with split push? Because after the first 3 champions, I would completely change the direction that I'm going in. If they've got Galio, Jarvan, Kai'Sa, I would say go all in on 5v5 team fighting. You have a great wombo combo. This is one of the most classic and standard combos of Jarvan, EQR in. You create in the Cataclysm, and then you smack that Galio ultimate down right around it. Kai'Sa, super good scaling marksman as well for later in the game, so that would make a lot of sense. And it looks like they'll continue with the trend right now. Lissandra, definitely viable at setting up a lot of those fights.
Can also go in, give Galio another target to slam down onto, or she could just follow up after the combo has already been started up. More solid team fighting, more big AoE coming out from the side of Flyquest here, as OpTic thinking about what they want, contemplating the Zillion. And I mean, all right, if your opposing team wants to just jump in there with everything and pour it all onto popping somebody and starting the team fight off, well, bring them back to life.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a Tahm Kench and a Zillion. Probably, to me, the 2 most annoying defensive supports in the game. With
Agree.
The Devour and the Revive coming through. So there's definitely a lot of ways that they can try and save people. But if you get enough champions caught in the AoE, and you just kind of splash damage onto everybody.
Yeah.
And that's the idea with the big AoE of Galio, Lissandra, Jarvan combinations. So we'll see if OpTic can navigate these dangerous waters. And it looks like, once again, we're going to have one team opting to try and split the map, and the other team looking for the hard engage. Classic matchup.
Flyquest's team has so much AoE on it. I mean, that's the way that you deal with a Tahm Kench Devour or a Zillion Revive. You're not going to stop the guy from pressing his button. You can't reach over and smack his hand and say, don't hit R. So you just have to make it so he has to pick and choose one target
But if
or
you
the
type in
other.
all chat, pretty please.
Only noobs press R. Then give him a smiley face. Bait him into it, as the final pick for Flyquest is going to be the Rise. So there is some further split push potential here.
Interesting. Yeah, it is, again, going to be a powerful matchup for Viper in the top lane. And I do like that they saved the last pick for him so that he doesn't, have to pick an early melee champion that would get blasted early on by the likes of a Kennen. Rise will do quite well into that matchup, and Flyquest aren't going to seed a lot of the early game, which I think is the most scary thing when you're doing a hard engage team fight style versus a split push style. If you don't see the early game, then it makes it much more difficult for the enemy team to open up the map and draw you apart, to kind of spread your defenses.
As we load into the Rift, remember, this is the final game of the day, final game of the week. And for Flyquest, it's your chance to claw your way out of that clump a little bit. For the side of OpTic, it's your way to work your way towards the top of it a little bit harder and
Grind
jump
away.
Flyquest, exactly.
Get that bread.
That's what it... God bless it. That's what it's all about. As we are getting further and further along, I mean, at the end of this week, we're talking about the end of week 6. That's 2/3 of the way through the split, Kobe. We're running out of time for these teams to fight their way out and earn those spots.
Time is precious. So let's get this one started. OpTic versus Flyquest. Last game of the weekend.
Can Flyquest bounce back after a very rough game yesterday? Earlier today, we saw Clutch Gaming bounce back after having a rough game themselves yesterday. So strong mental can work some wonders. Let's see what Flyquest got tucked away. You can hear the Flyquest fans in the audience. They have that loyal fan base. It's always here week after week after week to cheer them on.
They got good rhythm, too.
Yeah, lots of Thundersticks specifically for Flyquest in the audience. They got everybody kitted out, ready to go.
Gotta come prepared. Oh, here we go. Arrow gets a punch to the back, but JJ is going to walk out as well with just a little scratch.
And with Arrow playing Tristana, quick reminder here, you can vote for the next Tristana skin in client. There's a little prompt that you can follow, or you can just vote at riot.com/Tristana skin. Out of the 3 on your screen right now, you've got Bubblegum Candy, Anime Hair, and Little Devil.
I'm going for Bubblegum Candy.
I went for
Far
Anime
left.
Hair, because we got to get that weeb money.
You're edgy.
Exactly. But you can pick your own favorite, whether you agree with Kobe or me or anybody else who picked the one on the right, and make your own voice heard. March 9th, that's the deadline. Plenty of
I have a completely random Bubblegum story, and since we're level 1 and nobody's doing anything,
Tell me the story.
I'll
Regale
tell-
me with a tale.
well, I'll take you back.
All right.
This is like 20 years ago.
This is real old.
Yeah, this is a 4-year-old Kobe, so it's even more than 20 years old. But my cousins had a gumball machine. They filled it up with paintballs. They proceeded to give me a quarter and watch as 4-year-old Kobe eat the paintball.
How'd that taste, bro?
End of story.
How did it taste?
It was terrible. It was
figured.
It was a red one, and I started crying after I ate it, and there was red paint dribbling down my chin, and my mom thought I was bleeding, so she came running and started freaking out.
But then she found out that your cousin just played a trick on you.
Yeah, so they got in big trouble. And that is the end of story time.
So that's why you want Gumball Tristana, so you can relive this traumatic experience?
At least I got a funny story out of it.
All right, I guess that's true. You got a good tale to tell. As Crown loses a lot of his HP here in the mid lane. Pobelter getting a very advantageous trade early on. Crown at least has Corrupting to bring some health back, but that was dicey.
Yeah, every time you look up and the health bars are that far apart, you got to check the Corrupting Potion charges. Pobelter is up in the extra charge here, forcing a lot of damage onto Crown. So the Zillion does have to play a little bit more defensively now. I mean, both these guys have teleport in addition to the Corrupting Potions, and I assume that they will also be picking up their rings as well. So it will be a fairly long, sustained war, but the Lissandra is getting the early shove. Pobelter's doing a good job of throwing his Q through the minions to get the shove as well as the damage.
You're going to see both junglers opting for some vertical jungling this time around, starting off with the red buffs, clearing through the enemy blue side jungle as Meteos will make sure that he drops the smite to secure that one and move right back in to continue farming up the camp. Santorin in the top lane. I don't see any sort of a dive working out too well here. Dokla's still got a lot of HP, and at level 3, 3 turret shots and a couple hits from Ken, and you're dead.
If you rise root into the knockup from Santorin and Pobelter comes, this could be it.
Okay, with POB here, maybe it works out. We'll see. There comes your EQ combo into the roots, into the damage, and there you go, first blood. I'm happy to be wrong about that one.
There you go. If you have a setup for Jarvan EQ, it makes it so much less risky. A lot of the times, it's super easy for people to flash that sucker or even dodge it. But if you can just root Dokla with a point and click, there's no flash coming through. They finish off the kill. And even though the teleport finishes for a Crown there, that is going to be a huge teleport disadvantage because he's stuck in the top lane now. Pobelter can use this to go back to mid lane. So patience here from Flyquest on the top side. Very admirable. They get the root off into the Santorin EQ knockup. Easy first blood for them to pick up. And that is exactly what you want with your counter pick on the top side.
Patience and coordination, exactly what I want to see from my early game dives. Get the Fiestas out of here. We don't have any time for that right now. Flyquest looking clean at the beginning. One thing I also want to applaud is Dokla recognizing the fact that he is dead to rights when they commit that much for him, doesn't waste a flash, doesn't put himself into a vulnerable spot against future ganks, so still has that tool available as we move forward.
And a little bit of macro here as they trade off because Crown did use his teleport topside. He just stayed there to shove the wave in so the wave wouldn't be in a bad spot for Dokla when he returned, and Dokla just slipped into the closer lane farm as mid lane had been pushed into that turret, so he doesn't get blasted as much as you would think off of that top lane play, because it could be so devastating. If you get dove with a big double stacked minion wave at your turret, not only do you die, you lose summoners, but you also lose all those minions and the experience that dies to your turret. So they try and make the best of a bad situation there on the side of OpTic and recover a little bit. Meanwhile, Meteos finished up on that invade in the jungle, left some vision behind, and slipped back over the dragon wall.
Farming up his own Krugs now. Meteos maxing the Q on the Rex side. This is something we heard about a little bit from Zyrene, how you see most players go for maxing the Q because it does give you the most damage. However, sometimes E-max can also be a thing if you want a greater tunnel uptime, but Meteos just wants to make sure those ganks have the most bang for their buck when he decides to go in. He hasn't really found the opportunity to make anything happen just yet. You saw him hanging around the bottom lane earlier, but considering Turtle and JJ are shoved back, as you'll naturally be against Triss when she pushes the wave with the passive on explosive shot, there's no plays to be made.
Yeah, of course, the other benefit of maxing your Q is your clear speed is increased, and every second, especially in competitive matches, really does matter here for the junglers. Meteos now is able to see them with the passive here on Rex side, got some alerts as the crab's taken away, and Viper, with his newfound gold and supremacy in the top side, is able to push in the wave, go for the invade, and leave a control ward behind that spots Meteos.
Looking at the inventories for both players here, Santorin having the Ruby Crystal leads me to believe he's going to be going for that Cinder Hulk Jarvan that we saw previously as well. Not quite as strong on the gank department, but remember, does scale better into the mid and late game as more tank items are purchased, and you can multiply that health to become a big old beefy meatball. Also has some extra clear potential by having the AoE from the burn. As you can see, the rotation towards the bottom side coming out from Crown here, just checking the river, sweeping things out. Here we go, JJ and Turtle looking to go in, start off the 2v2. Big to be taken very low. One more auto attack's gonna do it, but Big keeps himself alive. One more shot is needed, but it will not be found. OpTic get their support out.
OpTic, they burned down Big. He still had flash though, so nobody wanted to flash after him. And man, Big, yeah, he holds on to his summoner spells quite a while there. It does pay off as they only lose the heal and the cleanse in exchange for the ignite, but that is still a 2-for-1 in summoner spells for Flyquest, and they're able to shove the wave in and get their recall off first.
Yep, you get to send that enemy support home, take control over the lane. Crown gifts some EXP over to Meteos, getting him to level 6 first.
Will he return the favor and gift the gank?
Oh, here you go. There's your chain CC coming out knocked up, but the Aftershock does wonders for keeping Pobelter healthy. Only ends up taking half his HP and damage despite getting double bombed and Rek'Sai comboed.
Yep. He started chugging his corrupting potion as soon as it started. So the healing over time there, plus the Aftershock that he's able to proc very easily since Lissandra is easy to access crowd control.
And remember that Rek'Sai ultimate is no longer dodgeable. You can't just flash out of the way, you can't dash out of the way. You have to make it, I think, 1,200 units or something absurd to actually escape it in the time that she disappears before she reappears again, which in 99% of circumstances will not happen. So if Meteos gets you low and you don't have some sort of a stasis to keep yourself safe, you are gonna die to this Rek'Sai.
Luckily for Pobelter, Lissandra comes with one stasis intact.
Built into the kit and more available for purchase at your leisure. We'll see how he decides to go with the build path this game. Bottom side, you can see the Blade of the Ruined King build coming out here for Turtle early on, not going for the BF Sword double pickaxe that we see for those trying to rush the Q evolution to be stronger in the mid game.
For me, I always really like the BF pickaxe rush.
I agree.
When you're going against squishy teams like this, right? Nobody on this team is going to build tank. So I super highly value the burst damage as early as you could possibly get it. But I will say, even if there are no tanks on the enemy team, going a Blade of the Ruined King build into your Rage Blade makes your objective shredding insane. Kaisa already has this percentage health damage on her passive, you can see there, but once you add onto that the Blade and Rage Blade as well, the Baron becomes butter to cut through.
And Nice early objective coming out there for Flyquest. First drink of the game, 9.5 minutes in will be Cloud. There comes JJ going in, looking to bring the pain to big once more. Santorin coming in, brings down the Cataclysm. Turtle looking to follow this one up. They will be able to find the kill first and foremost. Heroic interest trying to keep him alive, but it's still going to be a 1-for-1. Arrow grabbing the kill down onto Santorin. Now looking to follow it up even further. Turtle has no mana to go, tries to flash away, will do so. JJ's in some trouble. The bomb is going to blow, and Arrow grabs himself his second kill.
And that is a 2-for-1 for OpTic here, as they're able to get the kill on the red buff here under jungle, or under the tower, and allows Arrow to finish it up and get the second one for themselves. Pretty big turnaround here. 2 kills onto Tristana. His magic boots just came in. He's going to get a bunch of turret plates off of this turret as well. Arrow is going to be set up to be the hard carry of this team, which is something I haven't said in quite a long time. Let's see how it started out. With the gank from Santorin coming down, they get big very low, then they flash for the kill under turret here, and they are able to finish it off. The little movement there, though, into the turret range, they're able to get off on Santorin. I believe that was Arrow's ultimate, had to be, from the Tristana, is enough to get them that kill, and then that gives you red buff plus the reset on your rocket jump, so Arrow does a very good job chaining that into another kill, and that is a 10.5-minute Infinity Edge for Tristana.
That is a very strong AD carry. He got the kills in the fight. He got the turret plate money afterwards. Meteos went into the enemy jungle, stole away some camps. Pretty big win there for OpTic, who have managed to close some of that gold gap that Flyquest has been steadily building for themselves by winning CS in these solo lanes. You can see a massive 30 farm difference here in the mid lane between Pobelter and Crown, as Pobelter takes advantage of just how good Lissandra is at shoving things out. The bottom side with Turtle only having Blade of the Ruined King components up against that full Infinity Edge, it's time to pay respect to Tristana, and plenty of it.
Yeah, Arrow definitely has priority down there. Meanwhile, let's see if Meteos, he's been tracked pretty effectively by Flyquest and Santorin here. You can still see a lot of these lingering wards in the OpTic jungle have not been discovered, have not been cleared out. So they will be able to have pretty good information on his whereabouts.
And here's something I want to point out to you. You can see the KDA so far, 0-0-0 for mid laners, but as a jungler, you know how annoying it can be to look at a lane and say, oh, that's Lissandra, I don't want to gank that. The kill pressure is super unlikely. You're probably not going to make anything really happen there. And for both of these mid laners, the jungler has to commit a lot, and the guy has to be in a really bad spot to get the kill through the res or the stasis. So everyone's pretty much avoiding that right now. Play to the other lanes.
Yeah, and even though it's 0-0-0 on both sides, you could see about a 400 gold difference there that Pobelter has been able to farm up on the Lissandra. Crown did roam around a decent amount more on the Zillion, trying to be utility for the team, speed up, and make sure that their bottom lane play actually worked out for them. But that is definitely going to be a decent amount of burst damage for Lissandra. She'll get a very early proto belt.
Santorin continuing to just roam around the jungle here. If you check the EXP that he's got, currently sitting on about 1/3 of the way to level 9. Meteos the same on the Rek'Sai. Important because Meteos did get the EXP gift earlier from Crown in the mid lane with the Zillion passive, so Santorin has done a good job keeping up with that one despite that disadvantage. As you'll see Turtle get back by that Blade of the Ruined King, making sure he's on that first item power spike as quickly as possible, as Crown takes the chance with Pobelter gone to try to shove the mid lane up into the turret.
Yeah, good job there. Does even get the cannon with the auto. Sometimes we can see Zillion players struggling with a bit of the CS and just missing some in lane. Yeah, the auto's not quite ideal, and sometimes the bomb's not either when you're under pressure, but he does pretty well for himself.
Fidgets around with throwing the auto so much. It's like he has to dig it out of his pocket first and find it real quick. And
yeah, where's that clock? Viper on the top side. Haven't seen a lot of action up here since that early dive, though. Both of them keeping their range, basically. You see Dokla hugging the top side brush up there, throwing out the Qs. Viper trying to push the wave as quickly as possible, but not really getting much more than the single plate that was a result of the gank.
Infernal Drake spawning here in 30 seconds, and you can see both teams trying to move up, maintain control of this one. Right now it's OpTic who maintains priority over the river as Flyquest wants to work their way into it. The blast cone is going to be detonated there to make sure Flyquest doesn't have any easy access over the river like that. Turret plate's taken 3-2 as the plating falls 14 minutes into the game now. Infernal Drake alive in 10. Right now it's Flyquest thinking about their own blue buff first.
Crown and Big also thinking about Flyquest blue buff.
Yep. Now Crown's thinking about Santorin, finding plenty of damage with the double bombs, takes him below half HP, and scaring him away like that means that the Drake is much more easy to secure now for the side of OpTic Gaming.
Yeah, Santorin uses a smite there on the blue to secure it for the team. That means it's not handed over to Pobelter. Plus, he's not going to have it up for this Infernal Drake. And as you said, Infernal Drake should be OpTics. I mean, when your bottom lane gets that early double kill, early Infinity Edge on Tristana, they should have control. It's a good job for OpTic using that to have control wards all through the river and help them get this extra power for later in the game with the scaling damage from Infernal Drake.
Arrow and Big will just continue sitting pretty here in the bottom lane, building up the one lane with a CS advantage for the side of OpTic. As I said earlier, the two solo lanes falling a little bit behind here. Crown has worked his way up to closing that distance a bit. Topside has been about a 15 difference for a long time now. You can see Viper having completed the Archangel Staff, working on getting that one stacked towards the Seraph's Embrace that makes Ryze that powerhouse that he is. About 200 mana left to go on that one. Check in on the stopwatch situation. You can see 3 of them on the side of OpTic. On the side of Flyquest, looks like I'm only noticing 1 right now, but that is on Santorin's Jarvan, so keep an eye on him as he wants to go in, start these plays off, render himself immune to retaliation as he traps someone in the Cataclysm.
Yeah, the other thing to remember about this Jarvan, Santorin's going the tank build, so he's going to be super useful in the team fights. As the point man to start it off, he goes in, sets up the rest of the team. Meanwhile, Rek'Sai can be very difficult to pull off later in team fights. It will be easier for Meteos since they've got a Zillion on their team, so you can go super offensive, try and dive deep for that kill, and rely on the revive. But that means the revive wouldn't be available for someone like Arrow that you also really want to keep up since he's got the early gold.
Absolutely. Putting a revive on a fed Tristana is one of the best things you can do with an ability like that in League of Legends. Take a look at Arrow's gold. He's got almost enough to go back, turn that Zeal into an evolution, so wants to stick around a little bit longer. Maybe interrupt Turtle if he can. Feels a little bit like this might be a bait, but Turtle also feels like he might be in a little bit of danger if they want to send something after him, so he backs up before completing the recall with the KDA dance. And Arrow just keeps going, shoving. Both teams super even right now, man. Look, the only wards are really being placed down around in the river area, which means nobody's confident enough moving up into enemy territory.
And the only neutral objective up right now is going to be the Scuttle Crab coming up soon, as you can see by the 20-second indicator of the yellow mark on your minimap. Plus, the Rift Herald, which now there are no more turret plates, but your first turret bonus still is in the game. And opening up the map by taking down one of those turrets with a Rift Herald can be very big for setting up deeper jungle vision and trying to pull off your roam plays. When you've got a Lissandra and a Ryze, 2 solo laners that both have teleport as well as can flank super well, and a Kennen and a Zillion, 2 solo laners that have speed ups and also have teleports. You know, those plays can be very important.
Could see OpTic moving up, clearing out vision, setting down some of their own around that Rift Herald, but they didn't want to go for it themselves. Flyquest were pinging the pit, saying, okay, OpTic could be around here, be aware of that. Not making the move yet, means Crown's just going to continue shoving up here in the mid lane. He's got enough AP now with the Rod of Ages, also having a Lost Chapter, that he can answer the Lissandra shove pretty well, unlike he could early on, which led to Pobelter's early CS advantages. Bottom lane tier 1 turret down to about 1/4 HP, slowly but surely shoving wave after wave after wave after wave into this thing, has bought advantages for the side of OpTic Gaming.
Yeah, Tristana very well equipped to finish off that turret. If they give her any breathing room, she can just pop the explosive charge on it. It's so low right now that I believe 1 explosive charge fully procced will take it down. They've also got Demolish on the Kench and an invade with the jungle, so that's going to be first turret bonus over to OpTic.
First turret bonus, and you get rid of the flash from the Galio, removes the possibility of the flash taunt engage, which is very scary. Having that one down for the next 5 minutes allows OpTic some more comfort in pushing up, especially with Arrow down here, making sure this wave makes its way all the way over to the turret. Meteos shows up, but Pobelter's just like, okay, sure. Doesn't really care too much about the threat of that Rek'Sai coming in, not with Aftershock, not with your ulti available.
All right, are they going to chase him off the Rift Herald as well? Controller laid down. Meteos is going to start it out.
Torin just picks up his red there. Level 11 now on the Jarvan. Has the level 2 Cataclysm ready to go. Viper coming in to try to pinch these guys if they go too far. Santorin getting caught out by a bomb yet again. Gets himself away. Shelly going to be taken down to half HP. Does Flyquest want to fight this? Wild Turtle is nowhere nearby. Still all the way down to the bottom side river. Looking to work his way up in here now. Arrow's made his way into the fight first. Flyquest still not going in, and OpTic make a good call and secure the Rift Herald for free.
All right, Riptail picked up. Let's see if they can get another turret and chain this one. Mid turret extremely low. A charge, if they just support a charge with a champion or two, they should be able to open up that one too. 4 people now for OpTic grouping up, and with Arrow here, I think they're gonna go for it. Flyquest gonna have Pobelter try and wave clear while they send Turtle bottom to push that instead. Oh, they've made the call to actually fight it.
JJ's found himself a taunt, but it's only onto Big. Not really the guy you want to go after. Bombs flying over the wall, finding their way onto JJ's head. Meteos looking to go in further after him. The follow-up from Santorin there to protect his teammate. Meteos wants to go even further in. Pobelter trying to go into the back lines, find the damage, the lockdown onto Arrow. Meteos kept alive, tries to get himself away. Zillion LT down, keeping him alive now as well. Big getting himself out with the thick skin. Dokla tries to fall back. It's Big in trouble. Goes into stasis. I don't think he's going to walk away from this one. Turtle grabs the 3rd kill of the game for Flyquest. Dokla pops the ultimate, trying to keep himself alive, but instead it's going to be Viper, making this a 4-3 game.
And Flyquest are able to get the extra kill in the chase down here. Will that be enough for their Ocean Drake? Looks like it's going to recall for OpTic, and Flyquest do retain control of the map. Really nice follow-up there. You can see Turtle played this game actually so patiently. That fight, he was waiting in the brush up behind Red Buff for so long before he comes down. Let's take a look at how it all starts out onto JJ, this Galio here. They rush into the brush. He's by himself. Yes, Aftershock buys him sometime. The double bomb stops him very quickly, though. With Meteos, Big, both kind of going in to try and finish off the Galio, it's all peeled. Then, Turtle strikes his moment after they all commit onto the Galio kill. He comes in on the Kaisa, fully charged attack speed buff, takes down half of Crown's HP and 90% of Big's. Santorin follows up with the re-engage. Pobelter then on the Lissandra is also going to be able to fix up the 2nd kill there when they flash over the wall.
Really disjointed effort there between Crown and Meteos right after Meteos grabs the kill. That's the opposite of what we were talking about with one guy controlling all 5 champions, because Meteos goes into the stasis with his stopwatch right after Crown ults him, so Meteos can't die and get the revive. You end up using 2 tools there to still have your jungler nearly dead and unable to further participate in the fight.
2 tools that actually take away the effect of the other tool. You know, most of the time of your Zillion revive is wasted while you're in the stopwatch, and that does not turn out well for anybody. It's one of the big factors of this champion and why I kind of liked the theme when I first saw it. It's all about timing for the big clock guy and the ultimate that's going to revive you. It really is a big difference in activation there and the coordination with your team. This is something we've talked about with OpTic. We know that they have different languages that they speak on this team, and it's sometimes difficult to have more nuanced communication in very short time frames.
Meteos still 1-0-2 on the Rex side, though. 100% KP so far. No deaths. Even though the stasis and the ulti weren't layered correctly, it didn't cause him to die, which is the most important part there. 0, 1, and 4 for Santorin's Jarvan, and we're seeing the same thing that we saw in the last game from the Jarvan here again. Cinder Hulk straight into the Gargoyle Stone Plate just to make sure he is a wall when he goes into these fights. Meteos trying to secure the Scuttle Crab now for the side of OpTic. No real difficulty in that. Santorin can't get close enough to contest it. But now JJ and Turtle are coming down.
They're going in.
There's anything they can find here. Santorin gets a bomb put on him. Now that he's got some magic resistance from the Stone Plate and the Mercury Treads, though, not too concerned about it.
Yeah, good disengage there with the Zillion bombs coming down. The slows come out. Definitely an annoying champion to chase into. And if you chase a Rek'Sai into her own jungle, she's probably got a bunch of tunnels lying around everywhere. So it's incredibly hard to actually chase them down and find that kill. OpTic Gaming are able to hold off Flyquest for now. They also hold on to their very small gold lead, but honestly, we're pretty much even here as far as the gold amounts, and it's much more about the champion combinations that we're going to see. And you pointed out the full defensive build for Santorin. I really do think in situations like this, having someone with a full defensive build to go in, start out the fight, be the one to position the Galio ultimate, with double jumps available to Jarvan, like that's all you want out of them. So that is going to be a lot easier for FlyQuest to start their fight with this super classic engaged combination. And it's up to, again, the timing and reaction of the OpTic supports, Crown and Big, to save whoever does get caught.
And for Arrow, he's also going for a bit of a defensive option here with the QSS on the Tristana after getting the first 2 crit items down. I criticized Piglet yesterday when he was playing Kaisa for their choice of going for the QSS on that team because there wasn't a lot to stop with it. This game, I actually think it's a really good pick because you can get rid of the root from the Rise, you can get rid of all of the Lissandra CC, you can get rid of the Galio taunt, and it really helps him keep himself in a spot where he can be that huge carry this team needs.
And especially with Tristana, who has built-in peel options for the kit, as long as you get the CC off yourself, you can rocket jump away, you can buster shot them away.
Yeah.
You don't even have to have your summoners available also to get out of that.
Makes the champion incredibly slippery. And considering he does have those 2 crit items, he still will be a powerhouse in the fight. JJ gonna eat a couple of auto attacks there. Santorin looking to start this fight. Here comes the heroic entrance. Can they find the knockup? Big's gonna be thrown up into the air. Crown now in some trouble. Throws the ulti on himself. Will be revived, but he's stuck in the middle of 5. Big's taken super low. Over the wall goes Santorin. Crown getting himself away, but Big can't say the same. Pobelter grabbing the first kill of the fight. Wild Turtle has to get out. And look at the damage. Good lord, man. The bomb goes off. And Viper has to retreat. It's 1 for 1.
The Zillion Bomb and the Tristana Explosive Charge, both on Turtle's head. And it's the timed explosives there that take him down on the kill. My goodness, OpTic, they pull that one right back from a losing fight and are able to go 1 for 1.
That was a scene from Suicide Squad where the guy whose power was I can climb walls thought he got away, and then the bomb goes off. If you haven't seen that movie, don't see it. It's really bad, but that scene was funny.
All right, it is going to result in a Cloud Drake during the replay. So OpTic are going to have an extra Elemental Drake after this one. Let's take a look at how it started. Santorin, the super tanky Jarvan, does start out on Big, uses the Challenging Smite, whittles him down. They lock him in with the Galio Jarvan combo, but he's able to flash out and get almost within turret range there. Santorin goes in to finish it off, and Turtle ults him too. But I believe Pobelter's Q already had gotten the kill, and in the end, they get the return kill with the double explosives afterwards. So that one definitely costing them.
That one surprised me. Turtle had half his HP left, but the 2 explosions together was enough to take him down. Rapid Fire Cannon, BF Sword, working towards those evolutions of his own. Does have the Supercharger Evo, but still a way away from the other ones. Let's go ahead and actually check in on the status of those. May have the Q up and running. Yes, he does. Just barely crested the living weapon evolution now. So does have the Q and E evolutions both. Probably not going to see the W. I don't expect to see enough AP to really make that one come to fruition on a typical crit build.
I'd definitely say you should generally just choose 2 evolutions that you're going for. Don't try and spread through all 3 anymore. But the AP build also is viable right now. I just think that the attack damage one is quite a bit stronger unless your team has a bunch of AD solo laners. And this is going to end up as a crit build as well. Infinity Edge will be next for Turtle. So
on hit to crit.
Yeah, even though he started out with the Blade of the Ruin King for the extra lifesteal and the Overleech, actually Arrow, they're not going to fully commit.
He's fine. He could rocket jump out of it. That's that self-heal you were talking about. Very hard to engage on this champion, as Flyquest will continue pushing up here in the mid lane. Down slightly in terms of gold. They did give over some extra when that Turtle kill came through. Crown's in some trouble. Remember, still has the Zillion ulti he can throw down onto himself. Will place that one, and because he doesn't get rezzed, he will be stuck at about 1/4 HP.
And this game isn't moving too much in the side lanes. Right now, Kennen and Ryze still pretty much trading farm with one another. Neither one has really exposed themselves or gone for the all-in to kind of test their limits. Both of them saving their escapes right now. So that means that we just continue to kind of fish back and forth there in the mid lane. Meteos, though, might try and make a play on a Pobelter with Crown backing him up. You see the Zillion coming down the lane. Abyssal Voyage is here, though.
Pobelter very low on mana. Crown comes up, makes sure he blocks off the escape route. Pobelter goes into the stasis, trying to buy time. I don't think that was a good use of the stopwatch.
That's the #1 use of Tahm Kench, though. Picking off people in the side lanes. Abyssal Voyage comes through. Thought it was just going to be 2 people, but everybody shows up, and that is going to be the extra kill that allow OpTic to push a little bit further around this Baron.
But what do they get, though? You killed the Popsicle Lady. Now what do you take as the
Tower
prize?
damage, maybe?
I don't want some damage. I want to see the whole turret go down. OpTic needs to get something for this pick.
All right.
You managed to make it happen, so let's see what you get.
They got the wrong explosives up there. Zillion ones don't work on the turret like Tristana ones do, but his auto attacks will do just fine, as nobody else is going to come to defend it. So
All right.
Will be rewarded Captive Flowers with an entire turret.
I'll take that. That's what I want to see teams do. Don't just set up a pick for the sake of 300 gold and giving a dude a black and white screen. Set up a pick to get something else after the fact. They'll take the tier 1 turret, but bottom side, it's Viper returning the favor. 3 auto attacks should do it, and there we go. Turret goes down, and that's the second for Flyquest.
And the thing about the Ryze into Kennen is that Ryze doesn't have to use his escape to clear the minion wave very quickly. If Kennen wants to keep up in clear speed of these minion waves, oftentimes you're going to have to use your E, but that leaves you vulnerable to possible all-ins. So Viper on the Ryze pushes the wave quicker, is able to get that turret back on the bottom side, and we're back to an even state, Flowers.
Both of these teams not really giving the other one a bunch to work with so far. Every trade has been rather even. You do see Arrow sitting on the 3 crit items now, the traditional spot where those Tristanas want to be sitting to become that big powerhouse in the 5v5 fights. And as we're just now touching the 30-minute mark, we should be getting into some of those big moments.
All right, let's see who's able to make the first move, because right now, Pobelter's in the pit between 2 members of OpTic.
Gets himself out over the wall, but I mean, there's plenty of engage on both sides here, right? You've got a Rek'Sai, you've got a Kennen, you've got a Tahm Kench that can provide a flank if either of those is able to go in. And on the other side, you've got the Jarvan Galio Lissandra combination. I just want to see who can get themselves that position better to make the collapse. Mid lane tier 1 under fire again. Flyquest trying to bring this one down, but still not able to make it happen. Only tier 1 turrets have been taken so far. Again, neither side feeling like they're in a comfortable enough, advantageous enough spot to push deeper into enemy territory and take those down. Next Drake will be spawning. It's 2 for each side. The third and final cloud will be popping up in 3 seconds, and after that, it's all about the Elder.
All right, Kennen currently on the bottom side of your map while everybody else grouping up around this mid lane. Ryze is starting the Dragon by himself right now, so Viper taking this one. Actually, is that just a Scuttle Crab? He's going to get chased off. It's the Dragon. Yeah.
Yep, there he goes.
So now there's a half-health Dragon, and Meteos comes to fight that one
for
away.
a leash, Heart. That's what you put in the alt chat when they give you one of those. Meteos makes sure that he picks that one up for the team, and that is 2 clouds now on the side of OpTic. So it gives them extra ability to rotate back and forth between these lanes, maybe chase people down at the end of a fight. There have not been any big fights for a while. Mid lane tier 2, now the target here for OpTic as they're escorting the minion wave up.
Oh.
They go into the enemy jungle instead. Santorin goes in, able to find the Dug. Here comes the heroic entrance, but it's not going to find a lot of anything. Pobelter thrown up into the air. Here comes Dokla. Could be a big slicing maelstrom onto multiple people. OpTic still looking to turn this fight around their way. Dokla's finding the kill onto JJ. Santorin now looking to find someone. Dokla has fallen. You've still got Arrow alive in the back. Crown goes into the res, but Viper's doing damage. The Ryze goes forward. Chain machine gun and all those spells together. But Arrow's got a machine gun of his own. Wild Turtle having to run himself back, but instead he's going to return some pain back on the enemy lines. Very low. He grabs the kill with the bomb into the stasis, getting the double onto Wild Turtle. And Flyquest, they kill 4, they lose 3. It's a bloodbath, Kobe.
What a team fight with the hand-delivered Zillion Bomb at the end from Crown. He gets the recall off, and he is the lone survivor on the side of OpTic. Look at Santorin. He's got the positioning on this brush. Surprise Cataclysm into Grand Entrance. But that whole time they had set this play up, it's a 4v5. Flyquest have the Ryze bottom side, doesn't start teleporting till now, after someone is dead. So once JJ is dead, then Viper arrives. Turtle goes in, but immediately flashes back out. He didn't secure the kill onto Meteos there either, and Arrow flashing forward, thinking that he can finish it off. Actually then runs into Turtle, who Crown's been trying to lay these bombs on, but wasn't quite able to land them, so he takes it himself, picks it up off the ground, and is able to get the kill in the end. Viper finally chasing down Meteos, but that one felt like Flyquest's 4-man squad had set up this play in their own jungle where Santorin is waiting in the Fog of War in that brush, but they didn't teleport their Ryze in very early to make it a full 5-on-5 and really a threatening trap. If they had, Ryze there at the very beginning, I think it could have gone much differently for them.
Very even game still. 3 kills for 4. Nobody takes anything big afterwards. Important to note the stopwatch now in the inventory of Dokla on the Cannon. Because he's up against the AP threat of the Rise in the split push, he went with a Banshee's Veil as opposed to an early Zhonya's Hourglass, so he didn't have the stasis for last fight. This time around, it will be ready to go, and we know how critical that can be, especially for a champ like Cannon.
Yeah, we just saw him, huge amount of burst damage there. In AoE form, was able to get the single kill that OpTic got, taking down JJ. Arrow's able to get a turret for himself with the Tristana.
And Arrow's attack speed is 2.5 when he turns on the rapid fire. He's got all 3 Zeal Evolution items. Well, 3 out of 4 of them. I forgot about rapid fire, or not about rapid fire, Ruined Hurricane, but that's only used on hit stuff. But still, very, very scary build coming out right now from Arrow. He's still got to turn the QSS into Mercurial Scimitar, but that is it. He's 100% crit on this Tristana. And that is not anything that you want to have free firing time onto somebody in your lines. But considering he's level 17, that means his range is almost maxed out. He's already shooting from further away than a Caitlyn. Very scary to deal with. 803 auto attack range with the rapid fire cannon buff on, 653 without it. Whew.
Yep, that damage is going to be coming pretty quick. Viper, though, split pushing once again. Pings are on him. They're looking for the split pusher. Meteos has position, but Rise ultimate is down. And he is out.
He gets out of there. Nice realm warp into the river to make sure they aren't able to perform that pincer attack and cut him off. Neither side still with enough control over Baron to make anything happen there.
Banshee's Veil and Zhonya's make it very difficult to pin this Rise down. Banshee's Veil gonna block one of the first CCs that try and knock him out of the ultimate. And Viper is able to slip away there.
Seraph's Embrace as well to provide an extra shield. If the only option is to kill him before he gets away, it's going to be pretty difficult. When you look at the value on that shield, he's getting about 655 out of it. As Arrow is putting a lot more than 655 into Santorin there. Takes off about half his HP with a few autos.
Yeah, Tristana, when you get the speed boost from Zilean, able to use that max range to her advantage. And look at the big shields she can stack up as well. Definitely going to be the #1 prime target for Flyquest. So think about all the things that Flyquest are going to have to get through to take down this Tristana. There's a Tahm Kench that's constantly shadowing him for the Devour. He has a QSS himself, a Zilean ultimate, a Phantom Dancer shield that will pop up regardless of damage type when you're trying to burst him down as well, and also has his own Buster Shot and the Rocket Jump. So it's going to be a difficult target. And that's why you might have to switch targets. Look for somebody with the AoE and splash damage that you get.
Arrow finding the auto attack onto Wild Turtle there. Wild Turtle also a very large threat on his own. Has an 800 bounty on his head right now. Currently sitting on 5.5 items. Working on that last Zeal evolution. That'll bring him up to 75% crit chance on this Kaisa. So while we're talking about the firepower of OpTic Gaming, Flyquest aren't exactly playing with water pistols themselves. Very scary threats from both sides.
Super Soaker 2,000!
2,000, that's probably even more, 20,000. That's a very strong Kaisa that can just shoot out so much damage. We saw it in the last big team fight that occurred near that red buff. And this is one of those types of games that there's so much downtime between every fight.
All right.
Any fight
no
could
more
turn it.
downtime, Flowers.
But
Get
here
out
we
of
go.
your seat. Elder Dragon is going down.
Here we go. Elder Drake's going to be the fight that could determine the game here yet again. Santorin going to be knocked away by Buster Shot. JJ looking to find the taunt onto multiple members now. Meteos over the wall with the tunnel. It's Santorin going in, but Arrow still got the firing time. Big's going to be healed up. That's the only person that got any damage put onto him. Dokla sitting in the pit, just saving the flash until he absolutely has to use it to get away. OpTic grab a 3 elemental buff Elder and get away with nobody dead.
Yeah, Flyquest are only happy they were able to get that flash out. Pobelter, though, takes a lot of damage.
POB's in a lot of trouble here. Redemption comes down to keep him safe from the burn. It would have ticked away and killed him otherwise. But now Flyquest, they have their mid laner injured. He doesn't have his TP ready to go. Their top laner is pushing the bottom side up, working on the tier 2, but this should be the green light for OpTic to go for Baron. Meteos already in the pit. Crown's going to be running interference off to the side, trying to throw up those bombs. Santorin could come up huge right now if he steals this away. It's up to OpTic Gaming to prevent that from ever possibly becoming a reality. Remember, Dokla has no flash. He cannot flash over the Krug wall to try to stop this. Flyquest still trying to 4v5 stop the Baron take, and they'll do it. OpTic back away from the Baron.
They see him right now, chasing Dokla out. Pobelter going down,
Pobelter has to go into the stasis. 2 bombs are immediately going to find him. He goes into the ulti to buy a little bit of extra time. Keeps himself alive for now. Over the wall he goes with the claw. Dokpa looking to find the CC into the damage. The turret goes down in the mid lane, but it's not enough. They're still trying to push up. It's Flyquest going for objectives in their enemy's base, but OpTic now have to get back and try to answer. Turtle and Viper have made the push happen, looking for even more. Now they've got to get themselves away. You shove the wave up, you dip out before your opponent can punish.
Turtle gonna ditch Viper there for a second, but nobody's around to pick him up, so he's gonna get out anyway. Man, Belter just bought so much time with the Zhonyas, the self-ultimate, the flash into claw over the wall, and even got some OpTic flashes chasing over after him.
I actually thought it would be instant that the bombs would strap to him and stun him out of the stasis. I didn't realize he had a split second to ult himself before those popped off. Today I learned. I've been playing this game for 10 years, and now I learned something.
Spam that self-cast button. OpTic, though, right back at it. Control Ward does see them, so Flyquest are in the know.
I like the fact that OpTic are forcing this with the last 15 seconds of their Elder Drake buff. They're saying, look, if Flyquest want to stop it, we have to make them fight us at our strongest. Can Santorin go into the pit and make this happen? Over the wall he goes, has 6,000 HP, Baron's down to 2K, heroic entrance coming in. Turret destroyed on the bottom side at the same time, Arrow goes over the wall looking to find the damage of Santorin. Baron's now gonna be takeable, they got it for free. Can they get back into the base now before the inhibitor falls? Viper putting the work in onto this one. Redemption is not going to stop all the backs, but it will cause enough time to be wasted and allow Flyquest to make the trade. One inhibitor for the Baron. Arrow's fast. He's looking for damage. He's stunned up. He's going to be taken down if he's not careful. Big saves him. However, and Wild Turtle goes wild, man.
Turtle gets the double kill there in the backline. Takes down the Zillion, waits for the ult to come off, and takes him down.
The same mistake as earlier. The ultimate comes in from Crown as Big devours Arrow. Zillion ultimates are being wasted because the team is expending too many of these saving resources at the same time.
Let's take another look. The Redemption zoning them out. They all cancel the recalls. They're trying to buy some more time. The bottom inhibitor has taken during this Zillion speed up makes Arrow fearsome, but he runs right into the CC. Zillion ult is down your right, then gets devoured, pops him back out. Turtle flashes on Arrow, and actually the Zillion ult just dropped off at the last second there. As Turtle's throwing shots into Arrow, he took down both of them. And this one, it could go either way, Flowers. Even with the Baron finally getting picked up by OpTic, Flyquest got the inhibitor for it, and they also got the extra kills.
This game is just blow for blow, back and forth every single time. Nobody gets away with anything. The Elder has dissipated. However, because OpTic got the first one, that means the prospect of them getting the second is absolutely terrifying for the side of Flyquest. You cannot afford to give away this buff yet again. 90 seconds from now, you're going to see that one spawning, and you can see JJ's down in the pit right now making sure they've got control.
Yeah, I would be very worried about the Tahm Kench ultimates right now for Flyquest. If they are split pushing like this, you have to be super careful, trying to control your side waves, and make use of that super minion pressure. But if the Tahm Kench ultimate comes out and Arrow is inside, that is a lot of damage that comes down very quickly.
Speaking of Arrow, he sold his boots for Guardian Angel. He's saying, you're not gonna get me again. Now I've got a Zillion revive, I've got this revive, I've got Tahm Kench, I've got QSS. Every single possible thing this guy could have, he's got, as Flyquest will move down towards the Elder Drake.
Well, I guess that makes Turtle the God Killer, because he was able to take down Zillion and Arrow back to back.
Wild Turtle really popping off there, and you heard from him at the beginning of the day in the clip that we watched right before we got into this match. He's talking about how, yeah, he goes in sometimes and he has to sort of learn to temper that craziness, but the crazy plays, the wild and Wild Turtle is why this guy is so fun to watch.
You definitely need it sometimes, because
do.
That was a big part in how they've been able to save this game. Also, look at his build, he's got the Bloodthirster on top of the Overheal, which makes it a very big shield. Then you put the Kai'Sa Ultimate Shield on top of that, and that's where a lot of this survivability from a late game Kai'Sa actually comes from. People can be deceived. Yes, Guardian Angel revives and everything like that are very good, but a straight up health shield can go a very long way when you start getting 2,000 health shields stacked on top of each other.
This build that he currently has provides his ultimate with a shield that is just shy of 900 HP. Flyquest recognizing the Elder has spawned. They've got Viper in the top lane, TP ready to go. OpTic with multiple members down here in the Elder Drake pit themselves. Dokla's topside to stop Viper, but here's the thing, Kobe, he has no TP. If this fight actually starts off, OpTic are 4 versus 5. Meteos looks to begin right now as Arrow will be able to burn this thing down incredibly quickly. Dokla has made his way over to the fight already. He's recognizing the fact that the team is starting things up. He cannot afford to not be here. He will leave the top lane of the base vulnerable to Viper's split push, but OpTic has committed to the Elder Drake. Remember, they've got to keep Santorin away. They cannot afford to lose this. You grab it, it's going to be an absolutely huge buff. Santorin still looking to make something happen. Here comes Slicing Maelstrom, and Turtle is down! Flyquest have already won the fight. They'll take the Elder Drake too, but how much will they lose for it? Viper's made his way into the base now. Santorin trying to get out. He's going to be taken very low. TP coming in. Crown's made his way back to the base now to try to stop this. Viper has taken down one Nexus turret. He will not be able to find the second. And the rest of FlyQuest now has to try to do anything except for the fact that they're dead. It's the rest of OpTic pushing up into the enemy base. Viper stands alone, and he stands in the enemy base to try to do it. He only has one chance. That chance is to go for the base race, but a quick lick says no thank you. And OpTic Gaming, after a 45-minute battle, will make the clump that much closer. They will tie things up with Flyquest in the standings, and they will take down the Nexus.
Flyquest hard committing to the split push and is trying to stop backs at OpTic, at Baron, at Elder Dragon, continuing with this strategy. They were able to make it work the first time and get a big take for themselves with the extra kills and the inhibitor and delaying the objective. But the second time around, OpTic make it happen quickly, and that is the key. They figure it out, they push down mid lane, and man, this makes the entire bottom of the standings almost within one game of each other. Everything is very, very close still.
And that plan almost worked for Wild Turtle. We saw Crown have to use the TP to get back to base to stop Viper. It was so close to being good enough to make the split push win happen. You saw how much damage Viper was able to do to the turrets, and he would also be able to do to the Nexus if it became vulnerable. But ultimately, OpTic had a clean enough execution.
Yep, this makes OpTic tie Flyquest. Both of them at 5 and 7 now, also tied with Counterlogic Gaming and the Golden Guardians. And that whole clump is only one
Four-way
man
tie
above the other clump.
Four-way,
three-way
we got
tie.
one big old clump. There's a smaller clump right next to it. We got all sorts of clumps, man. But Riv is standing by with the OpTic support to hear more about that win.
Thank you much. I am joined by Big after a very big win over Flyquest. OpTic looking good as they now tie Flyquest in the standings. I have to ask you, Big, that game was punch for punch, back and forth. What do you feel was working for OpTic there to get you guys the victory?
Just doing nothing and just scaling late game.
But what did nothing pertain of? Who was pushing? Who was doing what? Who do you really think stood out in this one?
I think Arrow actually stood out pretty well. Like, he's just literally calling for speed just to run at the team. And, you know, Dokla's doing a pretty good job just communicating with us, saying, like, you know, Riot's taking my tower, and we're just telling him, hey, it's fine, man, it's fine.
Just letting it all happen. The win will come. The win will come. So looking at next week, TSM and Fox. Let's focus on TSM. Is there anything that OpTic has in mind to make sure that game goes in the green, goes for the win?
I think if we just focus on good drafts, like, you know, the basics, I feel like we're going to win.
Big, you sound so confident. Congratulations on the win. OpTic tying up Flyquest here in the standings as they move up with that W, and we're going to send it to the State Farm analyst desk to break down the rest of the game.
Thank you very much, Riv. Huge victory for OpTic there to tie up in the standings. Flowers called it out. We got clumps on clumps on clumps, but that 5 and 7 tie for 4th place now behind our top 3 makes the second half of this split so much more interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to look at because they stopped Team Liquid for clinching playoffs now, I think, with this win, so it keeps everything wide open. Though top half of the table, we'll see that matchup tomorrow, or next week, excuse me, Saturday. And then on the bot side, there's so many potential outcomes now. No one's out of the picture yet.
It might be a possibility that we hit the end of the split and all these teams are still just in a clump together still at the end of the day, you know? They're a clump throughout the entire season, they stay a clump.
I mean, NA's been a clump for a while. We've had a couple clumpy finishes last day, getting 5 extra games that one time, so who knows?
And it's crazy because these 4 teams round out essentially the top 7, right? So if you assume C9, TL, TSM make it to playoffs, one of these 4 teams now at that 5 and 7 record isn't going to make it. So it puts heightened, importance on all the remaining games in these final 3 weeks for each of these squads. Of course, we can talk more about standings in a bit. I do want to talk about the victory for OpTic Gaming. Meteos in the lineup. They do secure the victory, but it wasn't easy. This was an extraordinarily back-and-forth game, very skirmish heavy.
Yeah, almost the whole way through, because it started with a lot of junglers kicking things off, and then suddenly Santorin finding a huge flank to start one of these fights. Just a great flank, and then you have Pobelter go in. Meteos plays it well, gets the knock up, so he has to flash follow up next time. They're stalling. Turtle's not in yet. Viper's not in yet. They're missing some damage. Dokla comes in, is able to zone them away, but his ult runs out, so he couldn't get onto Turtle. And then the re-engage comes in from Pobelter. The one mistake in this fight is probably Turtle flashing out when there wasn't that much focus on him yet. But from the rest of this was a super well-played fight mechanically with a little cherry on top.
Big brain play out of Crown.
Oh, yeah.
Picks up his own bomb.
Oh, God.
Delivers it to Wild Turtle.
That's awesome.
He's like, I'm sorry I missed you the first time, buddy. Here you go.
Right, these fights are so chaotic, and there's so many different times here where OpTic misplays and uses the ultimates incorrectly, where Crown ultis himself, and then Big eats the character that got ulted, and it's just like, there's a lot of miscoordination, and maybe that's a bit of on the power ranking that we had earlier with the mid laners, and how Crown is up there, but it's not like he's like super up there, and maybe the language issues are coming into here.
Yeah, I mean, Zillion's definitely not an easy champion to play when you might be struggling a little bit with teamwork coordination, but I mean, you can see how close these fights are, because there's one that OpTic wins, but during the time Flyquest making a good push down mid lane to kind of punish them for taking so long to kill Pobelter, and it was just a super long, drawn-out game.
Right, good heads-up play by Pobelter to extend it in that moment, buy his team the time and space to pick up an objective on the map. But again, OpTic backs with that Elder. They're going to reset. And of course, we're moving into more and more skirmishes. Ultimately, OpTic coming out on top at the end of the game.
I don't know if I really like all these rises that are super strong, but just consistently in the side lane. If you're gonna do that, why not just buy a Lich Bane at that point if you're never planning on fighting? I'm pretty sure this rise has 6 items and somewhere around 700 ability power. He is strong, and we consistently see in all these games where these rises have 6 items, and all they want to do is just try and kill the next, which is, the goal of the game. But aren't there other characters that kill towers faster than Ryze if you're only going to stay in the side lane and never fight?
Yeah.
Or build differently?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think he had TP for this as well, so he might have been able to collapse potentially instead, because it is still kind of close.
Right. I mean, they did have Elder for the first portion of that fight, but I don't see these rises in these fights, and they're just super strong, and it's a consistent thing throughout the games. And here you see the miscommunication where Turtle gets 2 kills because they just don't have the coordination.
Yeah, and they're the ult times out just barely on the Zillion revive. So Turtle talking about seeing opportunities that the rest of his team may not. Found one there for a double kill. He helped stall the game out. But then the fact that the neutral objectives kept going in OpTic's favor eventually kind of broke the back of Flyquest, where this one time, not very good vision control as they walk in. Dokla finds a huge game-winning flank onto Turtle, who was really the primary carry for the enemy team. Annihilates him at the start of this fight. And even though Viper's trying to make some tricky stuff happen here, with the potential backdoor on the base.
Exactly what you're talking about there, High. While the game-ending team fight is going on, Viper's on the flip side of the map, trying his best to end it. Maybe if he had a Lich Bane, he would have eaten through those turrets a bit
I don't know if
faster.
that's a good build on Ryze. I personally would. I haven't ever built Lich Bane on Ryze, but if you're just going to hit towers 24/7 and don't want to fight, maybe it could be good. Because does Kennen beat you?
It very well might be.
If you build...
Has AP, does more damage to turret.
There are worse things you could build, that's for sure.
Right.
You can build 80.
But we do have to give props to Dokla there. I think he's a guy who, throughout his career, has had a fair share of criticism.
That flank was nasty.
And that flank was absolutely dirty. Found his opening where he couldn't be detected by any wards, slips in before the mid lane minions catch wind of him, and is able to pull off the game-winning ultimate on that Kennen. Of course, Team Liquid and Cloud9, they still sit at the top of the standings, with TSM 3 wins behind second at 7-5. We've got 2 clumps underneath that trio, one at 5 and 7, another at 4 and 8. So only one game separating those clumps themselves. Clutch's win this week saved Kobe's portfolio. So if you wanted to know how much he gained, his stock went up 144 points overall across the 2 weeks with Clutch's performance.
Is that the largest gain that we've had?
I believe.
I actually think High had a larger gain in one of the weeks
Right,
overall.
okay.
I'm not positive.
I thought I'm negative money right now.
You might be negative overall. I just meant in one period.
Yeah, one of the buy
of check-in.
period.
You may
I'm
have gone
screwed.
more
I bought
than
100 Thieves.
that. Oh, you are donezoed.
I got 1 and 3.
Sorry, what was that? Mark's plus 68. Oh, plus 136.
Oh,
Ty.
I bought C9, Team Liquid, and Clutch, so I actually did okay.
So everybody's up. It was a winning week for all
Hey,
three
let's
of you.
go.
Kobe's up the most.
We could go
Ty
get
to
some
follow.
sushi or something now,
Yeah,
guys.
we'll
Let's
treat
go eat.
ourselves tonight. Lastly, let's go ahead and take a look at your predictions for the day. It was one of the days where we had the most disagreement, rather, about who would be picking up the victories.
Bob, what an idiot.
Yeah. Stupid stat. No, Kobe gets the Clutch Gaming call to kick off the day. Follows it up with the Golden Guardians C9 and TL. Of course, that third game of the day was where High had to relinquish his phone and social media rights over to Mark Z.
I'm going to blame TSM on that one. They had that in the
should've won.
bag. And then someone threw the ball and made me lose my bet, and now I'm depressed.
We got to take full advantage of that before the day's fully over, Mark. So
5 tweets in.
after
Come
this
on.
and before story meeting, we'll have to make sure we get 1 or 2 more tweets in to make
All
full
right.
advantage of
I've been, everyone's been coming up to me and they're like, hey, tweet JoJo's the best anime, tweet this thing, tweet all this garbage. And I'm like, you guys didn't risk
you
your
put
phone.
on the line, huh?
Yeah, I had to risk my phone to get access to his. If you didn't risk anything,
Right.
you can't gain
Can't reap the
anything.
rewards.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Well, you have the
I'm
power right now.
I'm 100% with you on that. I'm just thinking you should take advantage of the
yeah,
reward a little
yeah.
bit more before we close out the
I
day.
might disagree with that personally, but you know.
I hear that. I think we're in such an interesting position right now in the in the LCS. Just given that we do have a top 3 that seems so separate from the rest of the league, so cemented as a top 3. But then, as we looked at in the standings, there only 1 game separating the 2 clumps that are trying with every fiber of their being to claw their way into the playoff picture. That even a team like Clutch, like 100 Thieves, that has struggled, still has time to turn it around.
I think that's probably one of the biggest storylines is just how, for the last couple splits, like we've been saying, it was often the top of the table that was really up in the air, and then there was like Golden Guardians, which you're like, okay, yeah, that's not going to work.
They're out.
Yeah, so this time around, the clump and the confusion has shifted more to the bot teams. The other thing that's really interesting to me is Flyquest. They were the
What
top,
happened?
They were top 3 team, top 4 maybe,
That's
and
like
they
a 5-game loss streak,
They have
right?
nosedived right into the middle of that clump.
Right.
And it's hard to pinpoint exactly why, because even as we were talking before the game, you look at a lot of those players, and I think as individual statements, Santorin is one of the better junglers in the league. Yes, I agree. Pobelter, all of you on your mid lane tier, or most of you on your mid lane tier list, had him at least top 5. Okay, we can agree with that statement. So where are things falling apart for that squad?
Right. Well, earlier in the season, they were winning a lot of team fights, right? They had very strong team fighting comps, and that they were just taking fights and winning. You see them taking fights now, and they're losing. So they need to figure out why they're losing these team fights, and if they want to keep focusing on building the team fight comps, and or trying a new strategy here. Today, you saw that Viper was just split pushing on Rise, and that wasn't really what they were doing when they're getting their wins.
Right.
And maybe they should go back to try and do more team fighting comps and just go for that.
That, and as much as I hope this isn't true, the big criticism of this team, even when they were doing well, was ceiling. And it was the question of when other teams start catching up, can you keep pushing ahead? And I hope that's not the case, but it could be.
That's a good point. They still got 3 weeks left to go in the season to make their run to secure a playoff spot. There were narrow escapes and lots of clutch snipes today, but only one play conquered Twitter enough to be deemed our LCS biggest play. The tweets kept coming in for Cloud9's comeback, but the Sound Guy 16 said it best. This game is an instant classic.
More damage flying out. Here comes a pop!
I'm 1 HP.
Are they flash?
Oh,
They are on
they're on
CT.
sneaky.
I'm gonna die.
Holy shit.
Nico, hey, sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, bad.
Okay.
There's 1 HP.
Is that?
jump.
Yeah. I'm one.
Look at A-Charge, look at A-Charge.
I have out here. I have out for A-Charge. Bear's dead.
Nico's dead.
Broken Blade falls. Cloud9, is this your counterattack? Zed will go down. Shut down Chrononisky. And that is 4-4-1.
Hit.
I killed myself.
Hit. Just hit.
Go.
Hit. Yes. Let's go.
Cloud9 feels like the team that has ended or won games in that kind of situation more than any other team in the LCS, where they may fall into a deficit in the early portions of the game, and then some point in the mid to late, they find that one team fight that completely reverses kind of the tides.
All I heard was, I'm 1 HP.
I'm 1 HP. He's
10
1
times.
HP.
And then they would go, oh, snap, I'm dead to a Varus ultimate or a Q or something
Right,
like
it's really
that.
funny because you're looking at that replay of the clips, and it's just them getting destroyed by 1 CC and then just getting shot from 10 miles away.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm dead. And then they're winning now, and they're just like, wait, what happened? So
Yeah.
It's kind of baffling. I don't know how it comes together, but it does for that squad.
Yeah, good playmakers. I mean, big flanks. Not that many people can see those angles.
Right, Svenskeren just went ham in that last fight right there. He flashes onto Bjergsen, actually dies before he uses his ultimate, but he sent his life to try and kill the enemy mid laner, and he got the kill with the help of Licorice, and that's all they needed.
We were talking about junglers. I said I think he almost leads the league in deaths.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. He makes the right play. He makes the right play. Who cares he's dead?
Hey, I'll take the death for the W any day of the week. As you keep tweeting, we'll keep playing them all throughout the year, as long as you use that hashtag LCS Big Plays. Gonna do it for us here on the desk. It's time for us to send it over to Freak for the LCS cooldown. Good night.